My name is Sakuto Takayashiki, and somehow, against all odds, I actually managed to bag a girlfriend. Absolute cinema. I never thought I'd see the day I'd be dating such a top-tier girl. Welcome to Arasuyama Academy. Sakuto transferred here with a single strategy: live the life of a background character. He knows the golden rule: the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Midterm rankings are live. He clocks in at 8th place. Solid top 10 finish. Nothing to see here. But just as he relaxes, a voice cuts through the noise. Chikage Usami corners him. He tries a friendly hello and she bites his head off. He asks why she is pouting and she completely flusters, denying the allegations. Let's check the stats. Yukai is the school's academic weapon. She grinded her way to first place purely through hard work. She is the definition of persistence is power. But right now, she is furious at the scoreboard. She took first place, so Sakuto drops a polite congratulations. Big mistake. She screams in his face, insisting this is not about her win. She steps into his personal space and drops the bomb. She knows he has the skill to take first place. She asks if he threw the match on purpose. Sakuto clenches his fist, the tension spiking instantly. He tries to cap, claiming he just ran out of time. Chikage hits him with the silent death stare. He realizes his excuse is trash and desperately tries to pivot. Sakuto realizes he is cornered and needs a distraction immediately. He panic pivots to the only thing that can save him, the cafeteria karage set. He starts hyping up the daily special like a Michelin star chef just to confuse her. With the trap set, he shoots his shot and asks for a lunch date. Chikage starts glitching out in real time. She fidgets with her collar like she is overheating from a bad CPU. Sakuto analyzes the twitching and thinks he is about to get sent to the lobby, but she is not mad. She is just buffering. She stares at the floor and mumbles something about her bento box. Then she drops some serious anime logic on him. Apparently, eating lunch together is a legally binding marriage contract in this school. Sakuto runs the calculations and realizes he just accidentally proposed. She screams at the top of her lungs, asking if he is trying to date her. He immediately backpedals. He runs the simulation in his head and realizes the rumor mill would eat them alive. He decides to fold instantly. He knows the rule. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down and he does not want to be the nail. He apologizes for the confusion and initiates a tactical retreat. He throws up a quick wave and prepares to vanish into the crowd. But Chikage is not letting him escape that easily. She screams for him to wait. You can practically hear her heart doing backflips in her chest. She launches herself at him like a heat-seeking missile and locks him in a full-body embrace. Sakuto freezes solid. His hands hover in the air in pure panic mode. You can practically see the steam rising off her face. He tries to play it off. He acts like she just tripped while trying to avoid some random NPCs in the hallway. It is a desperate save, but it is all he has got. But then she doubles down. Instead of letting go, she grips him tighter. She buries her face in his chest to hide the fact that she is turning into a tomato. He hits the panic button. He apologizes for the collision and sprints away like he just stole something from the school store. Chikage is left standing there alone, her heart racing a mile a minute, wondering what on earth just happened. Sakuto is walking home, and his brain is replaying the tape in 4K ultra-high definition. He is physically recoiling from the cringe. He thinks, "Great job, Sakuto, you basically love-bombed the girl into a coma and then ran away like a bank robber." He swears on his life that the next time he sees her, he is going to apologize until his lungs give out. But the universe is laughing at him right now. Then he sees it. A familiar silhouette, but the texture pack is all wrong. That is Usami, but she traded the uniform for street drip and she is marching straight into a game center. That is a level 5 school violation. His internal moral compass starts spinning. Option A, be a snitch. Option B, follow the drama. Obviously, we are choosing violence today. He steps inside, and the air is thick with the smell of ozone and teenage angst. The noise is deafening. Some guy is screaming because he just got sent to the lobby, while the crowd is losing their minds over a 3-game kill streak. Sakuto elbows his way through the wall of bodies to see who is running the server. And would you look at that? It is the class prez, Usami, but the polite mask is gone. She is hunched over the cabinet, eyes wide, absolutely locking in on a fighting game. Her fingers are moving so fast they are blurring. Sakuto's brain blue screens. He cannot reconcile the honor student with this button-mashing demon. She does not even look at him, she just senses his presence like a radar. While keeping her combo counter climbing, she hits him with the coldest side eye in history. She says, "Grab a stick and catch these hands, or stop breathing my air." She is multitasking disrespect. Sakuto sighs. He knows he is walking into a trap. He slams a coin onto the machine and says he wants a private chat. Usami actually laughs. She keeps her eyes on the screen, secures another win, and says, "That is the cheesiest pickup line I have heard all day. Try harder." But she does not kick him out. She grins. The deal is simple. If he wants to talk, he has to beat the boss first. The screen flashes, the announcer screams fight, and suddenly this is not a game anymore. It is a duel for survival. The atmosphere gets heavy. Gravity seems to double. They are not just mashing buttons, they are playing 4D chess. Sakuto watches her hands. She twitches her finger a millimeter, baiting a heavy attack. He thinks, "I see you." Boom! He catches her slipping. One critical hit later, the screen flashes winner, and Sakuto is the last man standing. Usami blinks, actually impressed for once. She reaches out for a handshake. Good game. But the second he sees that hand, his PTSD kicks in. Sakuto decides to roll the dice on his life expectancy. He looks her dead in the eye, asking if this rage-fueled berserker is the real Usami. She tries to deflect, pulling a politician-level excuse about stress relief out of thin air, but he isn't buying it. The energy coming off her right now could power a small city, which is a massive upgrade from the zombie mode she runs in the classroom. Then his brain-to-mouth filter suffers a catastrophic failure. He blurts out that her smile is cute. Critical hit. You can practically hear the Windows shutdown noise in her head as she malfunctions. Realizing he just stepped on a landmine, he tries to backpedal, pivoting to a speech about respecting her dedication to the grind. Nice save, buddy. Usami is currently rebooting. She tries to laugh it off, but the sound comes out strangled. The air in the room gets heavy enough to crush a soda can. Something inside her snaps. She grabs his tie like a leash and slams him against the wall. She pins him down, closing the distance until they are sharing the same oxygen supply. Absolute alpha behavior right here. Just as he braces for impact, the fun police arrive. The student counselor locks onto them like a heat-seeking missile. Usami disengages instantly, coolly whispering that their date is canceled. Sakuto is left standing there, sweating enough to fill a bucket. He grabs her arm in a panic, but she flips the script on him. She leans in close, whispering that she is marking him with her scent. Ladies and gentlemen, we have officially entered yandere territory. Run. She forces him to touch her earlobe as some kind of tactile charm, don't ask me how that works, and then launches a full-contact surprise hug. Sakuto's soul practically leaves his body to file a complaint. The teacher finally corners them, screaming for identification like they are fugitives. Realizing they pushed their luck past the breaking point, they drop a synchronized apology. Game over. Our boy is running mental simulations at light speed. Is she the pristine honor student or the button-mashing arcade degenerate? He needs to crack the code and figure out which version is the real deal. He knows the golden rule of survival in this jungle. Keep your head down, blend into the wallpaper, or get absolutely crushed by the social hierarchy. But logic goes out the window. He is ready to bet the farm just to catch one more glimpse of that chaotic energy she is hiding. The teacher is screaming in his face, veins popping, saliva flying everywhere. But our guy? He is on another planet, completely tuning out the noise to focus on the real mission. Then it clicks. He missed a massive detail. To solve this riddle, he has to investigate them. The gravity of the situation settles in. Usami strolls back to base, strutting through the neighborhood with zero guilt, acting like she did not just inflict permanent mental damage on a classmate. She kicks the front door open and instantly flips the switch. The psycho vibe vanishes, replaced by the award-winning wholesome daughter persona. Inside, the atmosphere is heavy enough to crush a soda can. The girl at the sink lets out a sigh so deep it screams, "I am absolutely done with this existence." Usami completely ignores the depression cloud in the room. She flashes a blinding grin, leaning in to interrogate her about every single detail of her day. Later that evening, the vibe shifts to the kitchen where Chichan is stuck in single-player mode. The silence is loud and the atmosphere is heavy enough to crush a soda can. She stirs the stew, letting out a sigh that screams emotional damage. You can practically taste the regret seasoning the food. She is trapped in her own head, replaying the tape of her failure. Suddenly, she snaps, gripping the pot handles and shaking them violently like she is trying to strangle the cookware. The realization hits her. She absolutely fumbled the bag earlier. Sakuto looked like a total gentleman inviting her out, offering her a golden opportunity on a silver platter. And she somehow managed to reject the free win. Talk about a critical miss. He starts playing 4D chess with a simple lunch invite. He is absolutely terrified that being seen together will start a scandal. He is treating a sandwich like a covert ops mission. So she decides to nuke his logic. She shouts that there is zero problem with rumors if they just actually become a couple right now. Boom. Logic destroyed. Gravity decides to help out with a convenient stumble. He catches her and suddenly personal space is a myth. Just typical physics helping the plot along. His hand hits the wall, trapping her in the zone. She realizes he is bluffing. She can literally feel his heart hammering against his ribs. He asks what she is staring at. Completely unaware, his pulse is snitching on him big time. Back at the safe house, Chichan was in the middle of a high-stakes cooking operation when Hikari just spawned in behind her like a glitch in the Matrix, nearly sending Chichan's soul straight to the lobby. Chichan immediately started the lecture regarding the academic peril of repeating a grade, but Hikari? She wasn't even sweating. In her head, she had already run the numbers. She claimed she had mathematically optimized her truancy to the absolute limit, walking the razor's edge of expulsion like a pro. She tried to pull a fast one, claiming she was grinding XP at the library. Please. Chichan sniffed out the lie instantly and called out the arcade. You can't hustle a hustler, especially when you smell like ozone and desperation. Later on, Hikari was physically melting into the upholstery, clutching a teddy bear like it was the only thing tethering her to reality. The vibe in the room shifted. It was heavy, suspiciously heavy. Chichan's radar went off immediately. She demanded the sitrep. Hikari admitted that an event had occurred, but her internal logic processor was jamming. She couldn't explain why her heart rate was spiking like she just ran a marathon. To deflect the aggro, Hikari pulled a classic reverse card. She flipped the interrogation table and asked if Chichan was harboring any secret romantic feelings for anyone. Chichan hesitated for a split second, the tension in the air thickening, and then she dropped the tactical nuke. She was talking to someone. Takayashiki Sakuto. Hikari's respiratory system just shut down. She touched her face, the name echoing in her skull. It is the same guy. Oh boy, we have officially entered the danger zone, and there are no parachutes. Sakuto is grinding XP at his desk late at night, trying to handwrite a letter like he is stuck in the 1800s. He stares at his draft reading Greetings from Early Summer and instantly physically recoils at how much of a generic NPC he sounds like. He cannot handle the cringe levels. He crumples up the evidence, lines up the shot, and shouts Kobe, launching it straight into the trash. He leans back, realizing his life is such a dry, content desert that he has absolutely nothing to write about. Well, except for that one anomaly, Usami. At school, she is on total lockdown. Quiet, serious, basically a background texture with no collision. But at the arcade, she unlocked a whole new legendary skin. Headphones on, smiling, and actually proving she has a pulse. The duality is messing with his head. He is trying to run the numbers on which personality is the real one, but the math just isn't mathing. He decides to rage quit the philosophy session with a massive stretch. Too much thinking, not enough sleeping. Later at school, the universe decides to drop a boss battle on his composure. He spots Usami in her PE kit absolutely drenched in sweat. His brain goes straight to the blue screen of death. He calculates the damage. Cute face plus athletic aesthetic equals a critical hit to his sanity. He was not prepared for this level of fan service in the hallway. They lock eyes. The air pressure in the hallway drops to 0. It is a standoff. Sakuto runs a simulation on how to say hello, but every option leads to disaster. They just stand there fidgeting like NPCs with broken pathfinding code waiting for the developer to patch the awkwardness. Sakuto attempts a charisma check. He mentions he kept her secret from the teacher to score points, but his confidence bar hits 0. He tries to execute a tactical retreat. Usami is not having it. She closes the distance and leans in. She demands the full combat log of his thoughts. The pressure is on. He recalls her logic about wearing a charm to identify herself. Sakuto decides to run a physical diagnostic. He asks for permission, but his hand is already moving in slow motion. He reaches out. He plants his hand firmly on her cheek to verify the hardware. He treats her face like a touchscreen interface. Usami reacts like she just took massive damage. She screeches in pure panic. Sakuto stands there totally confused. He calculates the error. He thought he had admin privileges to touch her whenever he wanted. Apparently, he is still on a guest account. Talk about a fatal system error. She shouts that physical contact is DLC content locked behind the couple status. You have to pay to play. He counters with the hug defense, citing the time she grabbed him. She dismisses it as a server glitch. Cornered, she admits she might unlock the feature if they start dating. The paywall is right there. Sakuto scans the hallway. He realizes this conversation sounds incredibly sus to the NPCs walking by. He apologizes for being too forward. Usami doubles down. She practically spells out the rule in neon lights. Couple equals okay. She is begging him to download the update and get the hint. But his density is over 9,000. He nods. He agrees to never touch her again to respect her boundaries. He turns to leave like a respectful gentleman. Usami freezes. Her brain starts buffering as she realizes he completely missed the point. He dodged the romance flag like a pro. She snaps. She screams at his retreating back that it is fine if they are together. She is basically proposing right there in the hallway, and this guy is just walking away. Unbelievable. Just when you thought anime protagonists could not get any denser, he sets a new world record. 7:50 in the morning. Sakuto barely steps onto the battleground before the drama radar goes haywire. He spots Usami locked in an intense 1v1 with Tachibana Sensei, and the air is so hostile you could choke on it. Usami snaps back asking what exactly is wrong with her fit, but Sensei does not care about logic or reason. She drops the school rules hammer like a raid boss, demanding immediate compliance or she is writing a ticket to the principal's office. Usami is not folding! She starts quoting the handbook like a high-tier lawyer because there is 0 ban on ponytails in the text. But the teacher pulls a dirty strat called teacher's discretion. Basically, if she says it is flashy, then it is flashy. It is a total power trip. The noise draws a massive crowd. The hallway NPCs start gossiping, realizing the teacher is being completely unreasonable, but nobody steps in. They just stand there watching the train wreck unfold like it is a cutscene they cannot skip. Sakuto watches the HP bars drop from the sidelines. He calculates the odds. Usami is stubborn, but fighting the admins is a losing game. If this keeps going, she is getting sent to the lobby with a suspension. The peanut gallery turns on her instantly. They start whispering that she is just an attention seeker trying to look cool. Typical mob mentality. They would rather see her submit than actually stand out. Sakuto shakes his head. In his survival guide, being right is not worth painting a massive target on your back. But looking at the fire in Usami's eyes, he realizes she is ready to go down swinging for her freedom. Sakuto runs the tape back in his head. He realizes she is not chasing clout, she just has a severe allergy to nonsense. He yanks his tie tight. If she is going to fight the system, he needs to look the part. He spots Tachibana and tries to farm some brownie points. She shuts him down instantly, hitting him with the cold shoulder for interrupting her flow. Then her eyes lock onto the absolute train wreck around his collar. He apologizes, fumbling with his fingers to fix the knot, but only making it worse. He admits defeat. He has 0 clue how to tie this thing. He drops the lore bomb that he lives with his aunt because his parents are out of the picture. The vibe in the room plummets through the floor. Time for the pivot. He hits her with the aggressive compliments. It is a dirty negotiation trick he learned from his lawyer aunt. You exploit the ego to get what you want, and it works like a charm. She lets out a long sigh, drops her guard, and steps into his personal space to fix it for him. He thinks he is slick, planning to use this cover to make his escape. But Usami hits the panic button. She screams like she just witnessed a crime. She claims fixing a tie is a tier 1 romance flag. Sensei tries to use logic, but Usami doubles down. She demands to know if this is a confession. Sakuto just nods along to stop the ear bleeding. Now it is a battle for custody. Usami plays the cram school card. Sensei counters with the faculty card. They are literally choking him out in the hallway. He is gasping for oxygen while they play tug of war with his neck. Suddenly, the vibe snaps. The war room shifts to the shoe lockers. Usami is camping the spawn point, looking like she just deleted her own save file. She starts apologizing for the lunch fiasco, but Takayashiki calculates the optimal play. He steps in front of the bullet and takes the blame like a tank main. They analyze the teacher's rage quit. The math is not mathing. Takayashiki runs the numbers in his head. Usually Usami plays 4D chess to dodge this specific brand of drama. So why did she face tank the aggro today? Then she flips the table. She accuses him of smurfing his midterm grades just to stay an NPC. He tries to tactical retreat, but she catches herself. She realizes she just dealt true damage and apologizes for getting too real. Takayashiki tries to pivot the conversation to her spotlight management, but he fumbles the bag so hard he accidentally brings up the nasty rumors. Big mistake. Usami does not flinch. She admits the judgment terrifies her, but hiding in the bushes is not in her skill tree. Takayashiki drops some ancient wisdom. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Usami looks him dead in the optic sensors. She hates taking the L way more than she fears getting hammered. She admits her dexterity stat is low, but that is not the only reason she is grinding XP this hard. She turns back with a gaze intense enough to melt steel beams. She is doing all of this for one specific viewer. There is someone who needs to witness her highlight reel. The atmosphere gets heavier than a gravity chamber. She grills him on why he stepped in to save her back then. She shuts down the romance anime trope immediately. That plot armor is too convenient. She demands the raw data. Takayashiki starts sweating bullets. He mumbles some vague excuse about just somehow. Usami stares at him like he just spoke a dead language. So he drops the act. He admits he just could not leave her alone. He locks eyes with her and the emotional damage is critical. That is a direct hit to the heart. He tries to clarify, but Usami hits her damage cap. She screams a polite thank you and sprints out the door like she is escaping a raid boss. Takayashiki drops to the floor. He realizes he just made things infinitely more awkward. Game over. Takayashiki is curled up in the corner, practically vibrating with shame. He is inhaling massive amounts of copium, trying to convince his brain that getting absolutely destroyed is just, quote, character development. It is a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off. But before he can even process the trauma, Tachibana Sensei corners him at the lockers. The air gets heavy, and she drops a formal apology right on his head. She admits that the little lunch incident almost turned them into headline news. Takayashiki looks her dead in the eye and reminds her that if he gets sent to the lobby, she is definitely getting canceled right along with him. Mutual destruction is a powerful motivator. But of course, the apology is just bait. She shifts gears instantly, the atmosphere changes, and here comes the favor. She brings up the dark rumors surrounding Usami Chikage's, quote, other side. The temperature in the hallway seems to drop a few degrees just mentioning it. Takayashiki freezes in place. His pupils dilate as a specific memory hits him like a semi-truck. Oh yeah, he knows exactly what she is talking about, and his brain starts screaming. Tachibana Sensei wasn't wasting a single second. She cornered Sakuto right on the stairwell, cutting off his escape route with the precision of a predator and demanding intel on Usami's so-called hidden side. The pressure was instantly dialed up to 11. But Sakuto played the ultimate defense card. He stared her dead in the eyes and dropped a truth bomb so sad it hurt, admitting he has absolutely zero friends. The awkwardness in the stairwell spiked to critical levels, and honestly, you could practically cut the cringe with a knife. She completely ignored the cringe and started listing the red flags like a grocery list. First, hanging out at arcades. Then, walking around town dragging a creepy doll. And the cherry on top? Answering the phone with "I am right behind you." Sakuto started sweating bullets, his mind racing as he prayed this wasn't about who he thought it was. Then the gears in his head finally turned. That is exactly why she was lurking at the arcade that day. She let out a heavy sigh, admitting she was trying to debunk the urban legends herself. Talk about a hands-on approach. Ironically, the only delinquent she actually caught was him. He laughed it off to break the tension, but then he flipped the script and hit her with a serious question. He looked her right in the eye and asked why she goes so hard on student guidance. Everyone hates a narc, so was she just doing it for the paycheck? Or was there something else driving her? She admitted it was part of the gig, but then a soft smile broke through her strict teacher mask. It wasn't just about the rules. There was actual heart behind that icy exterior. Sakuto circled back to the arcade like a lost puppy looking for its owner. Let's keep it 100. He is straight up camping the spawn point, praying to the RNG gods for a wild Usami encounter. The desperation is palpable. Ask and you shall receive. Usami materialized out of thin air, launching a sneak attack from his blind spot. She didn't just scare him, she nearly deleted his system 32. His soul left his body, did a backflip, and barely managed to stick the landing back inside. She flashed a grin that screamed pure chaos, absolutely roasting him for the jump scare. Sakuto tried to activate his cool guy protocol, claiming he wasn't rattled. Yeah, right. The beads of sweat rolling down his face were screaming the truth louder than he ever could. Bro was shook. Usami went on the offensive. She looked him dead in the eye like she was scanning for a weakness. She asked if his nice guy act was just a macro he used to control people. She called his reaction time fake, scripted. Sakuto realized she saw right through his firewall. Inside his head, he scrambled to justify it. He was not manipulating anyone. He was just picking the dialogue option everyone expected. They moved to the corridor to debate the meta. Usami dropped the act. She admitted she hates the multiplayer aspect of life. Trying to be equal with everyone is just an exhausting grind. Sakuto countered with some 200 IQ wisdom. People are not mirrors, they are jagged puzzle pieces. The fun is not finding a perfect match, it is forcing those misalignments to fit together until they click. The mood shifted from debate club to romance anime instantly. They shared a look, trading labels like realist and romanticist while finally cracking a smile. Then, she pulled the trigger. She snatched his hand, immediately regretted the boldness, and hid her face in shame. Sakuto just stood there, buffering. His brain could not compute the input. She doubled down on the offense. He pressed his palm right against her cheek and claimed it was a perfect fit. Sakuto felt his soul leave his body. That was a critical hit that bypassed all his defense stats. Inside the infirmary, Sakuto tried to establish boundaries. He swore he would not touch her again. Usami was not hearing any of that nonsense. She grabbed him again. She interlocked their fingers like a vice grip. She told him physical contact deletes the fear. Sakuto looked down at their hands and realized escape was physically impossible. Back outside, the heavy atmosphere evaporated. Usami dragged him along. She demanded a rematch at the arcade. She was absolutely thirsty for revenge. But Sakuto planted his feet. He stopped the momentum cold. He had a confession to make, and he was not waiting for the loading screen. They crashed on a bench to catch their breath. Usami was stressing that her reputation might be an issue, but Sakuto had to keep it real. There is zero chance she could ever blend in. She just stands out way too much. Inside his head, he was sweating bullets. He obviously couldn't say the real reason she stands out is because she is walking culture. That would be a one-way ticket to Awkward City. They agreed to steer clear of the arcades to dodge the teacher patrol. Then, he confirmed the impossible. Turns out, when she isn't sweating in a lobby, she is actually a legit honor student. Then she activated her trap card. She leaned in way too close and asked him the million-dollar question. Who does he actually prefer? She gave him the choice. The flawless school idol everyone loves, or the chaotic gamer girl sitting right here? Sakuto tried to fence it and say both, but she called him greedy for that weak answer. So he locked in and told her the truth. It doesn't matter which mask she wears because it is still her. Sakuto stood his ground like a tank. He looked her dead in the eye, calculating the risk, and admitted he was glued to this new version of her. Then the green monster woke up inside him. He asked if she planned on stamping her barcode on other guys too, because his heart rate was already redlining. She just laughed and dropped the ultimate green flag. She promised she only tags the targets she actually wants to keep in her inventory. Up on the roof, the wind messed up his hair as he flipped into detective mode. He told her she felt like a level 99 riddle that just glitch spawned in his lap. but that is exactly his meta. He admitted he is addicted to the grind of solving impossible problems. She asked if he really wanted to dig into her dark lore. He scratched his cheek, looking awkward but honest. He is ready to read the whole wiki. The silence got heavy enough to crush a soda can. Their hands reached out, invisible magnets pulling them together across the gap. Then she breached his perimeter. She leaned in way too close, challenging him to figure it out himself. Sakuto's brain went straight to the blue screen of death. She confessed she is flying blind here. She cannot even see the bottom of her own heart map, so she gave him a main quest. She wants him to be the one to explain her own feelings to her. Talk about high-stakes gameplay. She dipped with a cheerful wave, leaving him standing there like a confused NPC. He sat alone by the fountain staring at his hand. The phantom warmth was still burning his skin. He realized he has been thoroughly marked. The next morning, Sakuto drags himself to school looking like he just went 12 rounds with a truck. He spent the entire night trying to decipher that cryptic quest, and now his brain is running on absolute fumes. He is analyzing the pavement just to keep his eyes open. Usami tries to check on him, but he instantly flips the script. He points out that her face is glowing like a radioactive tomato. She malfunctions instantly, sweating buckets like she is being interrogated by the FBI. Look at that panic. She is completely losing the mental battle. She stammers through the panic and finally drops the invite. Courtyard. After school. It is the classic confession setup, the golden trope of every romance anime ever made. Sakuto cracks a smile. He is ready to accept the main event. In his head, he is already calculating the victory speech. This is an easy win. But then the flashback hits him like a freight train. Another girl with eyes shadowed like a horror villain already claimed him for that exact time slot. He just accidentally double-booked a disaster. The realization drains the blood from his face faster than a vampire at a buffet. Usami asks what is wrong, but he lies through his teeth. He confirms the meeting while internally screaming for help. This man is absolutely cooked. Stick a fork in him, he is done. Sakuto stepped into the courtyard. The air felt heavy enough to crush him. Inside his chest, his heart was playing a death metal drum solo. He told himself to cool it, but his survival instincts were screaming at him to turn around and run. He inhaled enough oxygen to deflate the atmosphere. He forced the words out. Please do not crack. If his voice squeaked now, he would have to change his name and move to another country. Usami didn't bother with a hello. She went straight for the jugular. She locked him down for Saturday before he could even blink. The efficiency was terrifying. She dropped the phrase, "Let's go out." Sakuto's brain immediately planned the wedding venue and named their 3 kids. Then she slammed the brakes. Not a date, just friends. That is emotional damage. She just wanted to chat. Sure. Sakuto agreed to this non-date with a smile plastered on his face. Inside, he was weeping. But on the outside, he was the picture of composure. Her jaw practically hit the floor. She looked at him like he had just grown a second head. She was 100% expecting him to sprint for the hills. He tried to play the voice of reason. He warned her that the school gossip squad would feast on their souls. She didn't care. She pumped her fist like she was ready to fight the entire student body. Then she flipped the script. She asked if he could handle the heat. Sakuto admitted that his default setting is background NPC. He usually avoids the spotlight like it is a contagious disease. But she changed the game. He realized that living in fear of random opinions is a fast track to nowhere. Why play it safe when you can play to win? He dropped some serious philosophy. He told her that the nail that sticks out does not always get hammered down. Sometimes, that nail is the only thing holding the whole house together. That line hit her like a runaway truck. While she was rebooting her brain, Sakuto decided to stop overthinking. It was time to make a move. He looked her dead in the eye. He confessed that he wanted to unravel every single one of her secrets. Usami.exe stopped working immediately. System overheat. Her face turned into a tomato. The interrogation room atmosphere evaporates instantly, replaced by the modern equivalent of a peace treaty, a digital handshake. She tactically deploys a cat sticker to shatter the tension, staring at her phone screen with the intensity of a bomb disposal unit. She is calculating the blast radius of that emoji. She attempts to pivot back to business mode, promising to text the meetup details later like a true professional. But Sakuto? He is not about to let this conversation flatline just yet. He knows momentum is key here. She glances back, fighting a losing battle against the heat rising to her cheeks. Then she pulls the trigger. She asks to walk to the station together. Smooth operator, you have to respect the hustle. And thankfully, he does not fumble the bag. They fall into step side by side, navigating the neighborhood. The silence between them isn't awkward, it is heavy with unsaid words, amplifying the sound of their footsteps on the pavement. Sakuto looks up at the skyline and realizes something absolutely terrifying. The boring gray world suddenly looks high definition and colorful. Oh no, it is the classic anime trope. The man is officially cooked. Stick a fork in him, he is done. Hichan launches a full-scale apology attack, hands clasped so tight her knuckles turn white while sweating bullets. Chichan just stares, brain buffering, trying to calculate which of her many sins is coming back to haunt her. But no, it is about the arcade and some sketchy rumors spreading at school like wildfire. The math is not mathing here. Hichan went to the arcade, yet the rumor mill is targeting Chichan? Chichan tries to play it cool, waving it off like she is too cool for school. But the second Hichan suggests a return trip, the air leaves the room. Then Hichan drops the tactical nuke. She did not just hear this on the grapevine, a boy told her. Look at that face. She is glowing like a radioactive isotope. Chichan takes a defensive sip of her tea, but she knows the interrogation is inevitable. Hichan starts listing her dream guy specs, claiming she needs a man who understands the concept of heartache. Wow, so deep. Then she flips the script and points the finger right back at Chichan like an ace attorney. She brings up the cram school crush Chichan literally changed her entire life trajectory for. No pressure or anything. Chichan tries to physically merge with the sofa cushions, admitting there might be a tiny bit of progress. Chichan calls it an accident, but let us review the footage. Sure, there was a hug, but then she practically game-ended him with his own necktie. Look at that grip. That is not romance. That is an elimination contract. And he still said he could not leave her alone. That boy is down astronomically bad. Hichan roasts her for phrasing everything as a question, but they quickly switch to a mutual hype session. Hichan realizes her target is popular, which means competition. She needs a master plan. Her master strategy? Increase skinship by 500%. Chichan correctly points out that is basically harassment, but logic has officially left the building. Hichan plays the jealousy card. Act now or lose him forever. That wakes Chichan up. She clenches her fist and screams she will double her effort too. They seal the deal with a fist pump. Absolute cinema.